Yeah, and there's not as much on this one, but it's a good strategy, okay? Welcome to the 7-day weekend. Hello and welcome to the 7-day weekend. In today's episode, what I'm going to be talking about is another one of those cost-effective marketing strategies. The strategy that I'm going to be talking about today, we call bold calling, okay? Now, what that really is walking in, knocking on doors. Some people kind of wince at that idea, but let me tell you a little bit about the strategy and why I think it's such a great strategy and how you can make it less threatening for yourself and get yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone and actually start working this strategy in order to generate some really quality leads for yourself. Some of the stuff that we've talked about before in terms of marketing always comes back to the same sort of principle, is that you need to decide who it is you want to work with. If you know who your target market is, if you know who your audience is for your marketing, then that's the first step, because unless you know who, then you're just going to be chucking money away. So when you know who it is that you want to work with, the next question is, where are you going to find them in their largest concentrations? Now, this is really obvious when it comes to bold calling. Bold calling is about literally saying, well, where are they? Where do I find them? Where's their office? Where is their shop? And literally going and meeting them face to face without an appointment. That might seem a little bit threatening, but if you do it in such a way that it makes it not threatening, if you do it in such a way that it's more casual and not particularly salesy, because nobody likes to be sold to, then I think you'll find that this strategy might work well for you. So I'm going to give you an example to start off with. So I used to have a ventilation company, and we used to work with a lot of letting agents because we solve condensation and mold problems for landlords. And letting agents obviously hold the key to lots of properties, and their customers are landlords. So we knew where letting agents were because most of them were on the high street. So we had a walk-in policy where we would actually go and literally walk through the door and have a casual conversation with somebody in the office of that letting agent to start the process of getting to know them and for them to get to know us. Now, you've got to have something of value ready, and what we would have is we would always say, you know what? If you're having a problem with this particular problem, we're going to offer you a free survey. So do you have any properties that you would like us to survey? Next time you get a problem with this kind of thing, give us a call and we'll go and survey it for you. So the way that we used to do it is we used to kind of make it more sort of relaxed and casual. Oh, hi, I was just passing. In fact, I'm on the way to go and speak to another letting agent. So we may have mentioned another letting agent down the road that we worked with. I was just passing to go and see them. They're a client of ours. And I noticed your letting agency here, and I figured that we're somebody that, we're not working with you right now. So I just thought I'd drop in and say hi and tell you who we are and see if we can connect at some time to see if there may or may not be something that we can help you with. So it's kind of casual. It wasn't really kind of in your face. We weren't making it look as if, right now we want to make a sale. You don't want to do that because they weren't expecting you to walk through the door. So you can't have that as an objective. Another way of doing this is to have three things that you're asking for. Okay. Again, make it casual. Certainly, do not go to do a bold call dressed in a suit with a clipboard or a bag or a bunch of business cards or flyers, because you are making it really obvious that that's the only reason why you're there. You want to make it more casual, kind of like a just passing scenario. And if you're just passing, then you are not looking to do business with them there and then. So it takes any threat out of it. The only reason why people may respond unfavorably to you walking in the door would be because they feel threatened. They feel like you're just going to waste their time. You're going to sell to them. So a really good idea when you walk through the door is to make it quite clear. Look, you know what? I'm not here to waste anybody's time, because the person you're probably going to meet when you walk through the door is what we commonly know as the gatekeeper. And it's their job to make sure that you don't waste the time of the person that you want to speak to. So you've got to make it quite clear that you're not there to waste anybody's time. And a great thing to do with that gatekeeper is to appreciate that and get that out in the open right early on. So you might walk through the door and you say, hey, you know what? I was just passing and I noticed your business here and you're not somebody that we currently deal with. Normally, I might want to speak to the business owner to see if what I've got to say may or may not be of interest to them. But listen, I don't want to waste anybody's time. Would it be okay if maybe I told you why I was here and you could tell me whether this may or may not be of interest to the business owner? Now, what you're doing there is you're creating some rapport and empathy with that gatekeeper to make sure that they're not immediately putting the shutters up and saying, oh my God, you're here to sell something. We're not interested. Get that out. Okay. So that's your first introduction, really, to make sure that you are building rapport and you're appreciating that that person is there to do a job. So then what you want to be doing is saying, look, you know, we work with businesses and like this, and the kind of benefit that we usually offer is this, and this. Do you think that this might be something that the business owner might be interested in? Yes or no? And if they say no, then it's fine. It would be okay to take some details and maybe stay in touch so that I could keep them informed in case this ever does become of interest in the future. Maybe they say no to that, but that's your second thing. And your third thing might be, well, would it be okay if I just leave a business card? Okay. Now, they're probably not going to say no to the last thing. Leaving a business card, it's a pretty weak thing, but it's an easy thing, easy way for you to save face and get out of the door. So always have 3 things to ask for. Maybe the objective is to say, you know what, if this is of interest, is he or she available for me to speak to now? They're probably going to say no because you've not got an appointment. Okay, well, listen, I'm running an event in the local area. Would it be okay if I send an invitation to them? And when would be a good time for me to speak to them about that? If they say no to that, it would be okay. Well, would it be okay if I get an email address at least? So at least I can make an approach to them directly and stay in touch to see if this might be something of interest to them in the future. It's very unlikely they're going to say no to all 3 of those things. They may say no to number 1, they may say no to number 2, but most of us are not going to say no 3 times because we're kind of feeling like a little bit awkward then. Okay, so the principles are, make it non-threatening. If you've got a gatekeeper, make sure that you appreciate the fact that they are there to do a job, show some empathy, ask them, look, I don't want to waste anybody's time. Would it be okay if I check with you first of all if this is going to be of interest? Yes, of course. They're not going to say no. Yes, of course, it would be good. Obviously, then you need to be talking about benefits. So do you think the business owner may be interested in saving some money in certain areas of the business that they may have not have thought of yet? Yeah, of course they'd be interested in that. Great. In that case, I think there will be something of interest. What would be a good time for me to speak to them? Are they here now? No. Is it okay then if I take some details and maybe is it okay if I use your name when I reconnect with them? You know, these are the sorts of things that you want to be putting in your process to make sure that bold calling actually works for you. Now, some people feel awkward about doing, but let me tell you this, it's no more awkward. In fact, it's a lot less awkward than cold calling because at the end of a telephone, people are less inclined to listen to you and more inclined to be rude and just put the phone down on you. But usually when you go in and you speak to people face to face and they can see you haven't got 3 heads, then they're okay. They're okay with that. And they're not going to be rude to you face to face. It's very rare that that happens. The only time that may happen is sometimes in those service buildings where you've got to buzz, you've got to press a buzzer to get in. That's almost like calling somebody on the telephone. They'll be more inclined to be rude to you because they can't see your face. So maybe you want to avoid some of those buildings. Okay, so get out of your comfort zone, get out in the fresh air, get some exercise, go around to the places that you know your customers are at and do yourself some bold calling. Most important thing is just practice this stuff to get outside of your comfort zone and you will find your own way of doing it. But I hope that some of the tips and hints that I've shared with you here today are useful and it gives you the confidence to know that actually, you know what, bold calling, it's a direct approach. It's going to get you some leads. Test and measure, make sure you know how many bold calls you need to do to get the leads that you're looking for, and then at least you'll know that you've got a pretty cost-effective way of getting some potential new business right now. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's good. It's
tricky one, that one.
It is. It's still clocking in about 9 minutes, that, so...